1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM and FM. Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL. Home sweet home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dropping is Trevor. Looking. Fires toward the left corner of the end zone. That ball is intercepted in the back of the end zone.
It's tough, you know, when you find a way to get back in the game and you have an opportunity and it finishes that way. But I really am super proud to be a part of that group and got a lot of fight. And we just gotta find a way to finish these games.
You know, last Sunday is I'm moving on, right? And we're moving on as a team. And another great opportunity this week. Let's go get better this week. Let's get better today. You know, get ready for the Vikings.
Jefferson is, you know, he's at the top of the game and receiver-wise, so we've got to stay on top of him.
You know, Trevor's sore, obviously, and it gives us assurance, obviously. You know, Mac is still the number 2, obviously, and prepares each week to play. And
Game day is underway. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show on 1010XL. Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch. Here are your hosts, Hayes Carline and Mia O'Brien.
Crazy to think it is Week 10 of the NFL season, Week 10 of the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carline, and Carline, it's crazy to think the prophecy is coming to be today. Mac Jones traded for in March. The sentiment around Jacksonville, around the Miller Electric Center, was heaven forbid Trevor Lawrence was to suffer another string of injuries like he did a season ago. You would have a more than capable backup with over 40 starts in his NFL career ready to step in. And here we are, the pride of Bulls, the lifelong Jacksonville Jaguars fan, Jacksonville native, will, according to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network and Adam Schefter of ESPN, get the start against the Minnesota Vikings today.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how Mac handles this. You know, from a cerebral standpoint, what Minnesota is going to do today defensively is a real challenge, and one that, frankly, I wonder how well Trevor Lawrence would have fared against. I think Trevor Lawrence instinctually is still way far from where he needs to end up being. And while he's talented and certainly works hard, even without the injury, how well would he have been able to diagnose pre-snap what Flores is going to throw? We saw that Minnesota Vikings defense really fluster Joe Flacco, who's been in the league for a very long time, seen it all, and the only touchdown the Colts scored Sunday night was defensively. So in looking at it, it would have been a really tough challenge mentally for Trevor. So I am excited to see what Mac can do, because I think that's more his strength, is the cerebral nature of the game. He may not have the physical traits that Trevor has, but I think it's going to be fun seeing how Mac Jones goes about it. And it's a big challenge for him. He hasn't obviously played in the game in a long time of consequence where it's been his game. And this is a defense that really throws a riddle at you almost every play. And so I'm excited to see. I think Mac Jones can do a capable job, and I'm really interested in seeing what's the plan for him today.
We do know this. When the Jaguars traded for Mac Jones back in March, I don't think they envisioned themselves being 2-7 when he prepared to make his first start in the teal and black, Hayes Carline. But that is the situation the Jaguars find themselves in as we begin Week 10 of the NFL season. 2-7 are the Jacksonville Jaguars. 6-2 are the Minnesota Vikings, one of the pleasant surprises in the National Football League. We'll dive into them in just a second. We'll dive especially into that Brian Flores defense. Some really poignant comments from the Jaguars locker room this week. They know the challenge that they are up against. But I do want to run through the week that was, Carline, when it comes to this AC joint sprain that we now know that Trevor Lawrence suffered against the Philadelphia Eagles. He gutted out that game, which ultimately, unfortunately, another loss for the Jaguars, 28-23. I told you it would be scoregami last week on the Terminix Kickoff Show. I wasn't that far off, folks. This is where I want to play a little super sleuth, if we may. Here is Doug Pederson on Monday when asked about the health of his quarterback.
Yeah, he's sore. But Played tough, played physical, scrambled, took the one shot, there, I think in the second quarter, I think it was. Obviously, felt that one, but good, came out fine.
Then on Wednesday, after the NFL Network reported that C.J. Beathard had been re-signed to the Jaguars' 53-man roster.
Yeah, so obviously, C.J. was here and Mac was here, and from our standpoint, we felt like we had a really good quarterback room with the three guys, and obviously C.J. got hurt there in camp, and we had to let him go and all that, but we definitely wanted to at some point get him back here. I think it just strengthens our roster, strengthens that room. Trevor's sore, obviously, and it gives us assurance. Obviously, Mac is still the number 2, obviously, and prepares each week to play, and now we've got another veteran quarterback on the roster.
Will Trevor practice today?
He'll be limited today.
It's his left shoulder, correct?
Upper body, yes.
Are you worried you may not be able to play this week? Or is it too early?
Can't answer that today. Not sitting here Wednesday, no.
So you guys plan to carry 3 quarterbacks on the 53 for the rest of the year, or just for the next 3 weeks?
Maybe we'll carry them for a little while and see.
So we had to get about 25 seconds into that extended soundbite, Hayes Carline, before Doug Pederson circled back to Trevor Lawrence is sore. It's an upper body injury after some prying. It's the non-throwing shoulder, the left shoulder. But at the same time, they want to carry 3 quarterbacks. They wanted to get CJ back. That reportedly was always the plan. And so once again, the status of Trevor Lawrence earlier this week, shrouded in mystery. He was questionable each of the last 3 days, was out at practice, could tell you with my own 2 eyes. I saw him out there. He was the only quarterback not wearing pads. And then, of all people, on Thursday morning, it's former Jaguars offensive coordinator Jay Gruden. Hi, Jay, if you're listening somewhere here in the Jacksonville area, now working for Underdog Fantasy, who drops the bombshell that Trevor Lawrence is considering surgery. NFL Network, Ian Rappaport, fire back. They say now, literally quote tweeting Jay Gruden's tweet and say, Jay, he is weighing those options. However, he is unlikely to play against the Vikings. And on Friday, Doug Pederson clarified that NFL Network report.
Yeah, obviously it's we got one more day today. He's been very limited, all week. It is trending, obviously, in a way that's probably to not playing or leaning towards not playing. But we'll see today where he's at. He felt good today, and Mac's ready to go if need be.
And now we know, per Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter, that Trevor Lawrence will not go today. But Carline, you have all the confidence in Mac Jones from what your opening statement was, that the Jaguars could indeed pull out a victory here today. As one of our listeners on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures points out, Mac and white helmets will power us to victory.
Well, I don't want to oversell it. I like the Vikings today, and I do think it's going to be awfully difficult for Mac Jones. Not only because of the challenge that the Vikings defense is going to throw at him. I worry about rust. I also worry, look, I've been very critical of what the Jaguars are doing offensively, so I think Mac isn't being dealt a great hand of cards to play here as well. So I think he's maybe better equipped to be able to sort of diagnose or figure out somewhat what the Vikings are trying to disguise and what they're really going to end up dropping into. So I think he's got maybe a little step ahead than what Trevor would have, but I still think it's going to be awfully difficult for this Jaguars offense. It's not really a knock against Mac. It's more just everything that is aligning against him in this game. But look, if he can go and move the ball, if the Jaguars can score 24 or more points, I think you'd have to feel like that's a really good day at the office for Mac Jones in this offense. But I think that's going to be awfully difficult because I still think Flores is still going to fool Mac Jones, because I think Flores is going to be 3 steps ahead of Press Taylor for 60 minutes of this game.
Much like Vic Fangio a week ago.
Much like Vic Fangio, much like most defensive coordinators in this league, if not all of them.
What did you say in our season preview about Vic Fangio?
Yeah, he was going to eat Press Taylor for breakfast.
And he ended up eating him for dinner because the game got flexed to 4:25. But at the same time, yes, or 4:05, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, and I hate to pay. It's a bad offense. I mean, we'll do this show until the end of the year, and as long as they're in charge, it'll probably be something, a familiar refrain. It's not a great offense. You know, what was good in 2017 in this league is obsolete now. And that's what I think the Jaguars are running up against.
I referenced the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. That's one of the ways you can get involved on the Terminix Kickoff show today. 641-1010 is the number to reach us at. You also can leave a comment at the MyBookie Digital Studio. Just search 1010XL on YouTube. You'll see us live right on the main page. Click on in, leave us a comment, leave us a score prediction, and chime in here on the Terminix Kickoff show. The offense has flaws. So does the defense. This was the other big bombshell, the headline coming out of Jaguars camp this week, besides the injury to Trevor Lawrence. That being the fact that, reportedly, Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen had to play a game of rock, paper, scissors in order, that's us playing rock, paper, scissors for those of you driving and listening in on your car, reportedly had to play a game of rock, paper, scissors in order to determine who would come onto the field for the play that Trayvon Walker ended up scoring a scoop and score touchdown on.
This is the NFL, right?
According to Ryan Nielsen, don't worry, Trayvon would have been in anyways.
Josh said he and Trayvon did like rock, paper, scissors to decide who was going to be on the field on that drive opposite of Eric. I mean, which one was supposed to be on the drive? Do they do that a lot?
No, maybe we should just keep Trayvon on the field all the time. He'll score more touchdowns, right? You know, so the rotation. It's the rotation, and you know, Eric was up, and you know, the next guy up, you know, Trayvon was going to go in there, and then Josh was the next guy, and so that's just kind of how we rotate, and we've been rotating like that all season long. You know,
that was supposed to be Trayvon anyway.
Yeah, you know, yes, you know, Trayvon.
But in theory, if Josh had won the rock, paper, scissors, he would have run out.
I don't believe Trayvon would have let him run on the field. I think Trayvon would have stopped him from running on the field. And no, that, you know, they're in their rotation. That's what they're doing. You know, Eric's the next guy up, and then, you know, they go out on the field, and I'm happy Trayvon was on the field.
I feel better. Yeah, it's just, you know.
Which one has
this
more?
Is the kind of thing that if they were winning would be kind of cute and fun, and
right.
You know, like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know, they're good enough that they can just play rock, paper, scissors. If you're 7-2,
yes.
you can make that you can confide that in the media. When you're 2-7 and your defense has not stopped anyone all year, that is not the kind of thing that you want getting out into the public space. And you know, again, it's unfortunate. You know, I think we all thought Ryan Nielsen would, you know, be a big upgrade, and unfortunately, it's just been a disaster on that side of the ball. I mean, as poor as the offense has been, really the most shocking storyline of this season is how the defense just can't stop anything. And you know, Sam Darnold, I'm sure, has been drooling as he's watched this film all week.
I'm not sure if Frank Frangie asks Doug Pederson if he knew about this game of rock, paper, scissors, but let's listen in. The coach spoke with the voice of your Jacksonville Jaguars on Friday, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Here is that conversation from the Frangie Show.
The coach speaks. Jaguars coach Doug Pederson joins Frank Frangie right now. Presented by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
All right, it's time now to talk football with the coach, Doug Pederson, who joins us now with Frank Frangie on a Friday afternoon. Doug, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Frank. Yeah, enjoying this beautiful afternoon, that's for sure.
Boy, it is a pretty day for sure. All right, you've been asked 7,000 times now about Trevor, his health. Give us an update. Where do you stand? Where does he stand? How's he doing?
You know, he's doing fine. He's been day to day this week. He didn't take a lot of snaps. You know, with the first unit, Mac Jones took the majority of the reps, and And like I said in my press conference this morning, it looks like that, trending in the Mac Jones direction right now. But we'll make a decision. But I would say that Mac Jones goes in as your starter.
Okay, so assuming Mac does start, assuming it lands that way, tell us about Mac. Tell us about, you've had him now a whole year, had him in camp, played a bunch in the preseason. Obviously, Jacksonville people know Mac. What are they getting in Mac if he winds up being your quarterback Sunday?
I tell you this, they're going to see a competitor. They're going to see somebody with a little, with a little fire, and that's his personality. That's who he is, and they're going to see somebody that's going to lead the offense. He's going to, manage it the way he knows how. It may look a little different than a Trevor Lawrence, run offense, just because we're going to tailor it more to what Matt can do. And he's a smart guy. He's he's played a lot of football. He's a former first-round pick, so he's got the talent to do it, and excited for him to play in front of the home crowd, on Sunday. Yeah, it'll be. And if he winds up out there, I agree with you. I know he's going to be excited about it, and he's back home, and that is a cool thing. Let's talk about other from a health standpoint now. Gabe Davis, I know you're hoping to get him back. Devin Duvernay, where do you stand on those two guys? I know they've practiced this week for you. Yeah, Ezra's trending in the right direction, but I just still think he's about a week away. Okay. Gabe is doing a great job. He missed last week, but had a really good week of practice, and anticipate him playing in this game. And the same way with Devin. Devin, we activated his window early in the week, and he also had a good week, so I would anticipate him being up for this game, and Dewey as well. Andrew Wingard, I think he's another one that will be available, and again had a good week. This is his third week too, so looking forward to him playing as well. Doug, what does Dewey give you? I mean, he's a smart guy, and we've been waiting a long time. I know you've been waiting a long time to get him on the field, not just on teams, but in some defensive situations as well. What does he give you? What does he bring to the Jags? He brings that leadership. He brings that leadership ability back there. He brings sort of some energy, particularly on special teams, and he'll also do it with the team. That's something that I think we've missed that from him. Not being a part of the team the last several weeks, and so he's going to bring that. He's going to bring that little juice, and that's what we need. And looking forward to him getting on the field. Let's talk about the Vikings a little bit, Doug. Obviously, much is made of Brian Flores and how he has complex defenses. And the Vikings are obviously off to a good start. They're a 6-2 football team. Let's start with defense. What do you see when you look at the Vikings and what they do defensively? I think for me it starts up front with this group. I think this is a group that may be a little underestimated. I think this is a really good group of D linemen, linebackers. It all depends on if Cashman plays or not, but it's a solid group. It's a multiple front. They're going to give you different looks. They're going to pressure you from different areas. They'll rush 4, they'll rush 5, but it could be a combination of guys. And then they've got I think Van Ginkel is a solid sort of outside linebacker type guy who played for Flores down in Miami, and so he knows his defense really well. Metellus, the nickel, can play in he can play in the box as a linebacker. He can play in the post as a safety. So I think that's a good role for him. And then having guys like Stephen Gilmore and Harrison Smith, some veteran players out there as well, Byron Murphy, just a good solid group that are playing well. They're creating takeaways, and then the offense for them has been capitalizing on that. Speaking of the offense, you had a great answer earlier in the week. What makes Sam Darnold better? Justin Jefferson. I mean, he would make us all better, right, Doug, if we were quarterbacking. So he makes everybody better. And that's again, that's nothing against Sam Darnold, because I think he's playing good football. But having a guy like Justin and Naylor and Jones, a running back, the tight end's back now. I mean, he's got some weapons to use and throw to. So it definitely makes that offense better. And Sam's playing good football right now as well. Yeah. Final thing or two. I thought about this the other day. We talked about this on my show. Your team is battled. You can't. I think someone said earlier in the year, one of your players said, I see some quit. Well, and I think he might have not meant it that way. But you can't quit and be in every game in the last play of the game. No matter how much you're down, I think you guys battle back from some of these early deficits.
Talk about that for a second. I think it's a good locker room, and I think your guys are battling despite the odds or despite the way these games start a little bit. Am I seeing that right? I mean, do you feel that way about these guys?
I do. I see it the same way. I think these guys, obviously, they practice really well during the week, and you know, I ask a lot of them during the week, and they give me everything they have, and I feel bad for the guys because, you know, these one-score games are just they can be devastating, but there is no quit in this team, you know, and I do believe that, you know, when Andre Cisco made that comment after the Bears game, I don't think it was a direct reflection of where we were. I just think that was an emotion or you know, just something that he felt at the time, you know, but I've seen this group fight all the way to the end, and you know, last week in Philadelphia, the week against Green Bay, you know, it's been that way all season. So I've been encouraged by that. You know, we've got to figure out and learn how to finish, you know, better, make the plays when we need to make them, and you know, once we get that first one, or in our case the third one, you know, it gets a good feeling back in your mouth, and it gets you a little momentum.
Yeah, I'm with you, Doug, on that, and I think that's coming. I really believe that, and I heard you guys are fighting. So Doug Pederson, head football coach. It's going to be a beautiful day here. The Vikings come to town, 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. Doug, thanks, man. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you on Sunday.
Okay, Frank. Thank you so much.
All right, Doug Pederson, Jaguar football coach, Jags and Vikings on Sunday afternoon.
We love the sunny disposition from our very own Frank Frangie. I don't know if I could say it's as sunny on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures right now, Hayes Carline, despite being pretty sunny here at Tailgaters Parking. Our first text since I called for score predictions, input, 31-3 Vikings.
Oof.
Mac 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles.
Oof.
A useless drive at the end of the game to not get shut out. Come on! There has to be some more optimism, some more sunshine out there. Hit us up, 641-1010, or, of course, you can interact at the MyBookie Digital Studio. One guy who I know will continue to bring that optimism is Frank Frangie. He joins us next right here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
Imagine a place where the sun is always shining, the drinks are ice cold, and the food is bursting with flavor. Welcome to Hurricane Grill and Wings, where locals and visitors alike gather to weather this storm we call life. And you can escape here anytime you like. Today's forecast, hot, crispy wings with a 100% chance of frothy beers. Later, we're predicting big burgers and seafood tacos moving in. Escape the ordinary. HurricaneWings.com.
Come spend a night with Daryl Hall. November 14th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. A rare, up-close evening with a singer-songwriter. A musical journey through his entire career. Featuring a special guest, Howard Jones. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Daryl Hall with special guest Howard Jones together.
Help the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl create holiday experiences for local families. The Send a Child to the Game program provides families a free game day experience, including transportation, t-shirts, pre-game meal, and game tickets. Let's partner with ViStar Credit Union to send 1,500 kids and families to the game. To help reach this goal where youth can witness history at the 80th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, make a tax-deductible donation to Gator Bowl charities at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville, here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Chris Doring is chomping at the bit to tell you about today's Gators.
Chomp, chomp, chomp!
With Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser. Tuesday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Farah & Farah, the official personal injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com. Why do you choose Farah and Farah? First, we have the financial resources to take on any insurance company. And our track record proves that we know how to win. Our attorneys and staff are a team, and we've worked together for decades. To us, our job is much more than just a paycheck. We love to help. And this is important. We never forget. It's not about us. It's all about you. Farah and Farah, Jacksonville.
Bold City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com. 1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Garber Auto Mall phone line.
Hello.
We can wiggle it.
Frank Frangie will be on the call as he is each and every Sunday. Your Jacksonville Jaguars play coming up at 1 o'clock here today from Everbank Stadium. The 2-7 Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the 6-2 Minnesota Vikings. Frank, thank you for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mia, to you and Hayes. And let me just say this to all the people that live in those other 49 states. I'm sure they're having a wonderful day. But I'm sitting here outside in early November on a crystal clear, perfect day. And we live in the best spot, Mia. Can I share that? I know that's not what the show's about, but allow me to open the segment with that because it is gorgeous.
It's honestly perfect, Frank, because I said you are bringing the sunny disposition that we probably need here as we begin Week 10 of the NFL season, because we've already got some folks texting in, trying to stay positive, some not so much, saying that here's one of our latest ones off the text line, hoping the Jags lose so I can leave at halftime. Like, I don't know what's happening in Duval County. So thank you for bringing some optimism. And if there's some other sunny disposition that you could share, it would be greatly appreciated on this Sunday morning.
I'm guessing somewhere in Delaware it's not like this. That's what I'm going to bring to you, Mia. I'm guessing Delaware isn't like this, Hayes. That's my take on life today. Okay, that's where I stand. Or sit, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, we're definitely better than Delaware. We definitely have that going for us. Frank, Mac Jones is going to get the start today. What are your expectations against a Minnesota defense that's going to have a lot of enigmas that they're going to try and throw at him pre-snap?
I think he's going to do some good. I think he's a smart guy. So I don't think you're going to fool him a lot. But look, and Matt's a competitive guy, and he's a good guy. And I'm thrilled. I hate that Trevor's not going to be able to play if now that's official. That looks like it's the way we're headed. I hate that Trevor's not going to be able to play for Trevor. He's a gamer, and you know that, Hayes. He played through knee and ankle and shoulder and concussions last year. It was hard to get out of the game, and he's like Brandon Sheriff. You can't keep him out of the game. So I hate for Trevor that he's not able to play. But I'm happy for Mac. He's a Jacksonville guy. I don't think Mac was happy in New England. I don't think he made a lot of friends up there. I think it was a tough go for him a while up there. Here's a guy from Jacksonville, loved his time here at Bowles, played at Alabama, waited his turn, man. When everybody else is leaving, he just sat there and was the holder on kicks for that first national title and waited his turn, and then he got to win a national title and finish third in the Heisman and go in the first round. And then he's had to sit and wait. He was a very good quarterback his first year at New England. Remember, he went to the Pro Bowl and went to the playoffs. So I think he's a good player, but I don't think it was a good experience for him up there. So I think he's happy, and now he gets to play on a beautiful day where he grew up, so I'm thrilled for him. As for what I expect, look, he's rusty, man. I mean, he hadn't played in a while. He'll be competitive, but he's playing a very good defense. To your point, a very good defensive coordinator. In the first game he started in a while. But, hey, I'll say this. It's his 43rd start, okay? This isn't a guy – this no knock on C.J. Beathard, but C.J. Beathard started 12 NFL games in his career. Max started 42 of them. So this isn't new to him. He just hasn't done it in a while. I think he'll be competitive. I think he'll make some good plays. I think he'll make some bad plays because he's rusty, but I'm excited to see what he is.
That said, Frank, do you think there will be more of an emphasis on the run game, not only because Mac Jones is getting the start under center, but also because the run game was essentially neglected, for lack of a better term, last week against the Philadelphia Eagles?
Yeah, I think they want to run the ball. I don't think that's changed, Mia. If it was neglected last week, it was because of the same old thing. They got behind 10-0. They've been behind 10-0 3 straight games, and you're not sure how you want to how you want to adapt it. I think the plan has always been, regardless of what quarterback is in there, with the configuration of this football team, I think the plan is to run the football. So, yes, so to your point, and it's a good one, will you run it even more or be even more? Will you emphasize the run even more because you got a backup quarterback plan? That's typically what teams do. Teams in the NFL that have to play the backup, we've watched this league a long time. Even the very good teams, sometimes you got to play that backup 2 or 3 games until your starter gets back in the game. And when that happens, you run the ball more. So, yeah, I would think so. I get the hunch that Travis Etienne might still be banged up. They're not saying that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I know that Tank Bigsby's a downhill runner, and I would expect a lot of Tank today. If there's not a lot of Tank Bigsby, a lot of carries, some screen passes to him, I would expect you're going to see number 4 a bunch today.
And when the Jaguars do throw it, do you think Mac Jones is going to be targeting Brian Thomas Jr. Early and often?
I would guess that they're probably kicking themselves a little bit for not getting it to him more last week. Sometimes when someone's playing somebody over the top and shadowing a guy, which is essentially an NFL version of a double team, it's hard to go to if you don't want to go to the covered guy. But I would think when they did a self-scout, Hayes, and went back and looked, they probably wanted to go to him more often. I think Gabe Davis probably plays today, which is good, which means you get another one of your starters back. But, yeah, with Christian Kirk down, with Gabe Davis coming back but hadn't played in a while, I would think so. I will say this. Hayes, I don't think this is, okay, your starter's not there, so you're not going to be able to throw the football. I don't believe that, not in the NFL. Again, be clear about this. And you heard Doug say it in the interview a minute ago. This guy was a first-round draft pick. This guy won a national championship and was third in the Heisman Trophy voting, and it's had 42 starts in the NFL. This isn't some schlub backup. Now, we'll see how much they throw it. He is rusty. There's no denying the fact he hadn't played in a while. I don't care how good you are. If you haven't played in a while, it takes a while to get going. But this isn't, some backups, they're backups. They're going to be a backup in the league. I said this in the preseason when he looked so good, Hayes. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt gets another crack. Now, I don't know when that'll be or how that'll be, and I might be wrong about that. But this is a guy with starter chops or he wouldn't have gone in the first round of the NFL draft. So I don't think they're going to be afraid to throw the football. I can tell you that.
One more on the offense, Frank, before we flip over to the defensive side of the ball, which we really haven't tapped into too much outside of that rock, paper, scissors game that we heard was going on the sideline up in Philadelphia. The lack of 12 personnel last week, did it surprise you? I know Doug Pederson was very vocal in saying that he took responsibility for the fact that Brenton Strange only had 9 snaps on offense last week against the Eagles.
It did surprise me. And for people that don't know, when we say 12 personnel, that means 2 tight ends. That's 1 running back and 2 tight ends. Me is asking, are we surprised there wasn't more 2 tight ends? That's me. I was surprised. I think they were all surprised. I think when you're down 2 starting receivers now, Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis are your 2 starters. You're down. They're not in the game. You've got Brian Thomas Jr. in the game who was hurt during practice. I would have expected more 2 tight end sets, and I'd be very surprised if you don't see that today. They've got something in Brenton Strange. I think they've got something. They probably haven't used him enough. I think they would probably tell you that he's got 18 catches this year, but he was a high draft pick. He's a guy they like a lot. I mean, this is a guy they took in the second round. So, yes, I would be very surprised if you don't see a great deal of Evan Ingram and Brenton Strange in there together today. And to your question, yes, I was very surprised you didn't see him more last week.
What do you think the plan will be to try and contain Justin Jefferson?
Well, good luck. Pray. Go to church. It's Sunday, right? He's the best receiver in the league, Hayes. He's really good. I think they'll do what everybody else does. They'll bracket him a little bit, right? They'll have an eye on him the whole time. I do think getting Dewey back helps a little bit because he's such a smart player. I don't think he's going to start the game defensively, but I think you're going to see him some. They've used a lot of dime coverage of late, which means 1 linebacker and 6 defensive backs. My guess is you're going to see some of that. That would be my guess. Aaron Jones is a good running back, okay, but he's not a great running back. There's a reason Green Bay moved on. Green Bay obviously has Josh Jacobs now. He's a good running back. I don't think he's a great running back. I think what you don't want is the game is over and Justin Jefferson went crazy the way Jamar Chase did the other night. I think that's what you don't want. So my guess is you bracket him a little bit. You've got a second guy keeping an eye on him. And I think where Andrew Wingard plays some, I don't know how much he's going to play. I think he'll play some. But he's a guy that always kind of knows where to be, right? And so I think that's probably how they'll play Justin.
Frank Frangie, our guest on the Garber Auto Mall hotline. Couple more for him before he is on the call this afternoon with the Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Jeff Lageman, and Bucky Brooks right here on the Superstation. Frank, let's talk Vikings defense. We've heard all week from Jaguars players that this defensive scheme that Brian Flores runs has evolved since he arrived in Minnesota last year, but it is a headache. You feel like your head is in a beehive. What are your initial impressions of what the Vikings are bringing to town?
First thing is what Doug said in the interview. They're good up front, Mia. They got some old Gators. The Gator fans will recognize them. John Buller's on that team. John Grenard's on that team. But they're good up front. I think that's what's in the NFL, heck, at any football level, right? If you're good on defense, you're good up front. And I think they're pretty good up front. I think you combine that with the fact that Brian Flores is very creative. He comes up with ideas. There's two defenses. You know, the NFL, you talk about schemes. For the most part in the NFL, people play the same schemes. Now they operate differently out of those schemes. Gus Bradley sits back. Matt Eberflus, even though he's the head coach, he's a defensive-minded guy. They sit back and play a lot of cover two and let everything happen in front of them. Other coordinators rush and attack and blitz and do games and stunts. Everyone has the same scheme. They just operate differently out of that. Well, Brian Flores does a bunch of stuff. It's a very complex defense. He tries to fool you a lot. So I think they're pretty good. I think they've got some veterans back there, man. Old friend Shaq Griffin's on the team. Stephon Gilmore, at 34 years old, is on the team. You know what I mean? They've got guys that have played a lot of football. Harrison Smith's 35 years old. They've got a lot of guys on this team that are older guys and have played a lot of football and have played in a lot of different complex schemes, and that's why they can do all those things that Brian Flores wants to do. So I think they're good up front. I think they're physical, and I think they've got a lot of older veteran guys that really help you back in the secondary. That's why I think he can play the way he does. I really do.
Frank, do you think, obviously we still have half the year left, the Jaguars are allowing opposing quarterbacks to complete nearly 71% of their passes, 19 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions, a passer rating of 113.4. I mean, just atrocious numbers. Do you see a path for this, defense to get at least somewhat functional when it comes to slowing down the opposing quarterback?
Hayes, and I hear you. That's a fair question. It's dead on. If you look at the entire team, all right, you look at the injuries, you look at Trevor's development, the good and the bad, you look at everything that's happened, who's been hurt, who's not. People talk a lot about Press Taylor and who should be calling the plays and did they check out of the wrong. We've talked a lot about all the various chapters of this book that is the 2024 season, right? Hayes, I think we can all agree the most puzzling one is how bad. You can't sugarcoat that. They are 31st in the league in total defense. They are 30th in the league in scoring defense. I'm shocked. I think more than anything else, I think that's the thing that they would tell you is the most surprising thing. There's a lot of reasons for it. Has Ryan Nielsen not done a good job? Has the guys not done what he wanted them to do? Do they have the wrong combination of players? There's a bunch of stuff. But I would say, I'm giving you a long answer, and I apologize, but as I look at this thing, as I'm prepared for the game this week, as we get sort of the midpoint of the season, I think the struggles of this defense are the most puzzling. I mean, they're 31st in the league in total defense with what we all thought was a pretty good roster. Maybe we were wrong about the roster. So to your question, do I see a path where it gets better? I hope so. I want to believe that. I don't know that I feel that way. They almost have to kind of show us. You know what I mean? They almost kind of have to show that they'll play better defensively. I hope they will. I'm concerned about the defense. I mean, again, of all the elements of this football season, this Jaguars football season, the struggles of the defense to me are what surprises me the most. I think because the offense had to play from behind so much, they can't run the ball, which means they're now 22nd in rushing when they wanted to run the football. But they're playing from behind so much they're unable to do so. Now I think the first half of the first half offense has been a struggle. These games, the way they start the game, but the defense has puzzled me more than anything else.
Frank, before we let you go on the Garber Auto Mall hotline, I'm excited for your answer. An X factor for the Jags, an X factor for the Vikings. I'm very curious to see if you go offensive or defensive side of the ball for the Vikings, because certainly while Justin Jefferson is the headliner, there's some old friend alerts. There's some other pieces there on the Vikings offense that I think could factor into today's matchup.
Well, for me, again, they get Hockenson back. I think that matters. I think they've got to run the ball some, so certainly Aaron Jones is going to matter. But I hate to take the chalk. How can it not be Jefferson? Here's what I'll tell you. If Justin Jefferson has 3 catches for 11 yards, I think the Jaguars win the football game. That's what I think. I think if Justin Jefferson doesn't have his enormous, ridiculous game, the Jaguars have a chance. So as much as I hate to take the chalk there, I don't know that you can go any other way. I really don't. As for offensively for the Jaguars, look, Mac Jones is playing for the first time. He's the obvious choice. He's got to be the X factor. He hasn't played. But I do think it's Tank Bigsby, Mia, to your question. And obviously I'm ready for that question because you ask it. Every time you ask it each week, I want to have somebody in mind. If Tank Bigsby touches it a bunch, I think the Jaguars win the game. Remember now, for running backs to touch the ball, you have to kind of be in the game, right? I mean, if you're out of the game, running backs don't touch it very much. There's not as many screen passes. There's not as many runs. So I would really, really love to see Tank north of 12, 15 carries. I'd love to see Tank over the century mark. If Tank Bigsby goes over the century mark, the Jags have a real good chance to win this game. It's a bit of a weird season, Mia. I mean, as bad as they have been, they're 2-7. You are what your record says you are, and you're 2-7. And you know this. 5 of those games have come down right to the very end. Now, look, that doesn't mean you're better than you are. You got to make those plays at the end of the game. But I sense this will be a close game. I sense we're going to be in the fourth quarter today, even with a backup quarterback playing. And I sense a one-possession game. So I hope you could run the ball with Tank Bigsby. I really do.
And as one of our Terminix Kickoff Show listeners pointed out, it's year 3. How can we still be losing those games in the fourth quarter here in the city of Jacksonville? Frank Frangie, thanks so much for joining us on the Garber Auto Mall Hotline. Looking forward to the call coming up at 1 o'clock.
Okay, man. Hey, see you shortly.
There he goes again, Frank Frangie on the call this afternoon with the Hall of Famer Tony Baselli, Jeff Lageman, and Bucky Brooks. A little bit of breaking news, Hayes Carline, before we get ready for the Farrah and Farrah injury update on the other side. Roger Goodell, just now on the NFL Network, says the league is aiming for 8 international games next season. That part perhaps not surprising. But here is where the games, as of now, are expected to be. London, yes. Spain, Mexico City, Brazil, Germany, of course, where the Giants and the Panthers will kick off in about 50 minutes or so, and Ireland.
Ireland. All right. Welcome to the club.
So I'm very curious to see if that means, a game or 2 in London.
Yeah, a Wembley game and an Ireland game.
Correct.
Yeah.
Something to watch for heading into the 2025 season, but still a whole lot to do here in 2024. It's week 10 of the NFL season. We will hit the Farrah and Farrah injury update, our X factors, and head into the Big Cats locker room on the other side right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Where electrifying moments come to life.
Inside of a minute to play.
And legendary performances live.
A monumental milestone in a legendary career.
1010XL. The power of Jacksonville Sports Radio.
Bull riding. The perfect fusion of strength, skill, and pure willpower. Professional bull riders aren't just athletes. They're daredevils with cowboy souls. Come experience the true modern West, where 8 seconds of glory will create a lifetime of memories. It's the Michelob Ultra PBR Jacksonville at ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena, February 22nd and 23rd. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com and PBR.com. Hold on tight. The ride of your life is about to begin.
Injured in an accident that's not your fault? Don't worry, Zach's got your back. I'm Zach Von Rowan at Von Rowan Law, and over the past 20 years, I have fought to recover millions for my clients throughout Jacksonville. If you've been injured in an accident, have mounting medical bills, can't work, don't worry. Zach's got your back. I will fight for the compensation that you deserve and will be there every step of the way. Go to Zach'sGotYourBack.com to set up your free consultation with me today. Zach'sGotYourBack.com.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at Salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
Being an athlete means having a healthy desire to do as much as you can with your body. For as long as you can. Gatorade has lower sugar, electrolyte-backed hydration options to keep you rehydrated and replenished. Gatorade, for every athlete.
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
Good teachers and coaches get the most out of their scholar athletes. That's why 1010XL salutes the Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
And the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234.
Wednesdays on The Frangie Show. 1010XL is presented by Farrah and Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. The personal injury attorneys of Farrah and Farrah present this injury update. Farrah and Farrah.
Jacksonville.
Exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Two players ruled out for the Jacksonville Jaguars for this contest. The same two players that were ruled out last week against the Philadelphia Eagles. That is left guard Ezra Cleveland and defensive tackle Mason Smith. Doug Pederson telling reporters on Friday, probably a week or two until both of those players can return to the game field. Meanwhile, 7 players listed as questionable for your Jaguars. Of course, one of those that is included is one Trevor Lawrence, who, according to the NFL Network and ESPN, and in case you're just waking up, just getting in your car and just joining us here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, the expectation is that Mac Jones will start under center and Trevor Lawrence will be downgraded to out at some point or another when inactives, are released around 11:30 a.m. Meanwhile, Gabe Davis missed last week's game with a shoulder injury. He is questionable for this one. Dearness Johnson popped up on the injury report with a hamstring injury. He is questionable. Brian Thomas Jr., questionable with a chest contusion. Daniel Thomas, questionable with a hamstring injury of his own. And then the 3 in the 21-day return to play window. Andrew Wingard officially activated off of the reserve injured list yesterday. He practiced in full on Friday. Great to hear that he will make his season debut. Kick returner Devin Duvernay practiced in full all week after suffering a hamstring injury week 5 and being placed on the reserve injured list. He is also expected to go today. Keelan Robinson, the rookie running back with the toe injury, still listed as questionable, still reportedly in that 21-day window. Carline, for you, biggest name on that list that I just rattled off, because it is a long one.
Yeah, it is a long one. Obviously, Trevor, but I think we understand that he's not going to give it a go. I think, how well the Jaguar offensive line holds up, with the attrition there. What do you expect to see out of that group?
Yeah, I'm very curious. What I think was most fascinating from that entire list I rattled off was something I didn't say for the sake of time, which is Brandon Scherff does not have an injury designation. This is a guy who is fighting through a knee injury. He is in his 30s. He is in his year 10 in the NFL season, and he is gutting it out right now, which I know maybe the play, because he is in the quote-unquote twilight of his career, hasn't been up to snuff of what Jaguar fans expected when he signed a massive contract 3 years ago. But you got to give the guy credit, because if you don't have him and Mitch Morse at the heart of that offensive line, that's where a lot of the problems begin to arise. And that's with no disrespect to the two tackles, of course, and Walker Little and Anton Harrison, still younger players, but have had their ups and downs this year. But I think you need that middle to be fortified of the offensive line, especially if you want to run the ball the way the Jags do.
Yeah, without a doubt. And we've seen it with Scherff. It's been 3 or 4 occasions in his Jaguars career where he's been down on the ground, and you're like, oh, he's out for the year. He looks terrible. But he guts it out, and certainly is a pro's pro, and probably one of the more tougher guys on the entire roster.
Meanwhile, the Minnesota Vikings are incredibly healthy. Stop me if you've heard that before on the Terminix Kickoff Show. They have just 3 players with injury designations, all 3 linebackers, all 3 are questionable. Blake Cashman has missed some time with a toe injury. He did practice in full on Friday, as did Yvonne Pace. Gabe Murphy was limited on Friday after not practicing Thursday with a knee injury. And so an incredibly healthy Minnesota Vikings team. That's unfortunately become a common theme with Jaguars opponents over the last few weeks.
Yeah, it really has. One thing to keep in mind with Minnesota is their kicker is out.
That's true, too.
And so they are breaking in a kicker, John Parker Romo, who I've never heard of. So, we'll see if that's something that could make a difference in this game, because certainly we have a lot of confidence in the Jaguars' special teams. Maybe today it's a rough go for Minnesota, and the return of Duvernay, maybe he breaks a return that leads to, a score or just delivers a score. So that's it's a smaller part of the game, but special teams is something that, if this game is close, maybe that tilts it to the Jaguars' favor if this Vikings kicking situation does end up unraveling and this Romo kid ends up really struggling today.
Heck, we saw the kicking situation come into play the last time we were here at Tailgaters Parking and at Everbank Stadium for a Jaguars home game, Hayes, when Brandon McManus signed off the street 2 weeks earlier. It's not 1 but 2 game-winning field goals for the Packers in back-to-back weeks, including here against his former team. That is the Farrah and Farrah injury update. This is the Terminix Kickoff Show. Dylan, let's hit our X factors for this matchup between the 6-2 Minnesota Vikings, the 2-7 Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars. Carline, lead us off. Who is your X factor for this matchup here today?
I'm going to say it's TJ Hawkinson and the Jaguars' ability to contain him. Obviously, Jefferson's going to get the lion's share of the attention, but TJ Hawkinson is an excellent player. He had 95 catches last year, tore his knee up, and has just really been able to get back from that. Made his season debut last week. Nothing really crazy, 3 catches, 27 yards, but at least he was able to have that first game back. Now you could see an incredible jump forward. So TJ Hawkinson is somebody that I think the Jaguars, it's those supplemental pieces. You know, Jefferson is such a star, but you could contain Jefferson to, let's say, 65 yards. But then Hawkinson could have 8 catches for 90 yards. And Jordan Addison, keep an eye on him today, the Vikings' second receiver. He's battled some injuries too, but he's healthy. He's explosive, and you know he's going to get favorable looks. So that's, I think, a concern is Jefferson obviously is one of the best players in the NFL, but they've got some supplemental pieces that I think could really do some damage against this weak Jaguars defense.
Hawkinson, once upon a time, almost a Jacksonville Jaguar. One guy who was a Jacksonville Jaguar, the other tight end for the Minnesota Vikings, and Josh Oliver, who, in Hawkinson's absence and despite being known as a blocking tight end, 3 touchdowns so far this year.
Yeah, and had one the other night. So what about you?
For me, I will go to the Jacksonville Jaguars side of things. I have said on this program each of, I believe it's now the last 5 weeks, Hayes, that in no particular order, the key to victory for this game, Ventrell Miller, Brian Thomas Jr., Tank Bigsby. Lean into your young players, lean into the emotion that they give you, let alone the production on the field. I know Frangie mentioned it as well. Here's Press Taylor earlier this week on the need for the Jaguars, even if he's a little banged up with that chest contusion, the need to feed BTJ.
Yeah, certainly. And you know, that's something Philly did a good job at certain times and third downs and some of it 2 minute in the game. And that's something Vic Fangio's done forever. Cloud's your best receiver. The guy that provides the explosive element. So there was no surprise to that. You know, the end of the game, you saw a bracket over him late. There were a couple third downs early. There was a cloud to him. So as that happens, that doesn't mean we can't get the ball to him. There were opportunities there, even within the game, to give him some targets in there that we think, you know, he's certainly an element that is very explosive for our offense, provides a lot of juice to us, so we need to get him opportunities to get touches.
Now, the cloud coverage, I think, was something that was taken and run with. Brian Thomas Jr. was asked about it earlier this week in the locker room, and he kind of downplayed it and said that didn't really affect me. Look, the reality is much like when the Minnesota Vikings line up, the number 1 player on the scouting report for the opposition is Jay Jettas of LSU. The number 1 item on the scouting report when teams line up to face the Jaguars is another LSU receiver in Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, because as we've seen, if you cover Brian Thomas Jr., they might do something like throw a jump ball to Dearness Johnson with the game on the line. So, yeah, I would expect to see it today. And, you know, again, I would expect Mac Jones to be able to mentally handle much of what is thrown at him. But if you're Mac Jones, you got to take your chances with Brian Thomas Jr. He hasn't shown any signs of hitting a rookie wall. He hasn't shown any signs of having a difficult time acclimating. All that we've seen is if this guy is featured, he delivers a star performance.
Gabe Davis did not play last week. He is expected to go this week. We'll see if that actually happens. One guy who is healthy and has to be in the mix is Parker Washington. Stepping in for Christian Kirk. I know last week we saw Austin Trammell figured in a little bit more prominently than I think we thought at that slot receiver role. Regardless of where he plays on the field, the Penn State product tells me he is ready to go versus the Minnesota Vikings. Pleased to be joined with Jaguars wide receiver Parker Washington. Parker, I won't be like our friend J.P. Shadrick. I'm not going to ask you about Penn State, I promise. How are you doing on this fine Thursday?
I'm doing good. It was good. Fast week of practice. Feel like we're taking some steps, of course. We have to. I mean, we're in that situation, but it's been great. As I said, just taking the steps forward, I feel like we're doing that.
Describe the last 2-3 weeks since Kirk went down with that injury. How has it maybe sped up even more for you just in terms of the weeks that go by?
Definitely. Just getting more reps on in offense and when we're doing our drill time, of course. You know, it just speeds up a little bit, you know, get more reps and more plays and run routes instead of just filling in. So that's just the only thing for me, and it's been good though. You know, Christian Kirk's been encouraging us to keep going, keep trying to be the best group out there while we're at practice, and we're just working hard to be the best we can be.
It goes without saying, I'm sure, Parker Washington a year ago this week compared to right now in terms of your grasp of the playbook, confidence on the field. How would you describe comparatively to where you were this time a year ago?
Just healthy, you know. That's the first thing that comes to mind. It's tough coming off an ankle injury and then put in the situation and still being a rookie, so he's still learning curves and that. But yeah, just being healthy and of course, since I'm healthy, I'm more confident and I just been able to be me and not be 50% or 65% of my potential. So, but it's still a lot of growth to happen, a lot of development. Been exciting, you know what I'm saying, just a journey in its own, and it's been fun. I just want to keep embracing that.
Biggest takeaway for this wide receiver room? What was the biggest thing that you guys were proud of from this past Sunday, the biggest thing you want to improve on heading into this meeting with the Vikings?
Just continue to take advantage of our opportunities. Keep taking those steps, you know, just being ready when our numbers are called, and continue to be dominant in the run game. That's a big emphasis for me. Got to see safeties rolling down, being able to block the right person and not block anyone. But just minimizing the mistakes. And just most importantly, like I said, just taking advantage of the opportunity.
Have they told you, will you be returning kicks? Was that a mid-game decision? Are you comfortable returning kicks when you're also playing wide receiver in a game?
Definitely. Whenever I'm needed or whenever they want to call my number, I'm ready to go. And I'm comfortable with being receiver and returning. I'm down for that. But like I said, Coach said he wanted me back there for one return. I said, okay, let's do it. And I just appreciate that trust in me to be able to go out there and execute and just catch the punt, fill the ball for our offense, and that's really it.
I'll ask you about the Minnesota defense, but first I will go to the offensive side of the ball. Justin Jefferson. When I say that name, you say
Jay Jettas. But yeah, just that's an icon, you know, and that's what it's all about. That's what this game is about, being able to see other great players, and then like I said, every time I play a great player, especially a receiver, you know, it's good to see it in person, and it's another learning opportunity, and it's just excitement, and it just makes you want to go out there and be your best too.
What's the biggest emphasis when facing a Brian Flores style defense?
Just be confident, play fast. They're going to try and mix you up, try to slow you up, but you got to play fast, because at the end of the day, the defense still has to adjust to what we're doing. So if we're running fast and they're trying to do all this stuff where they're on the line or bringing safety down, they still have to run with us down the field. So it's just continue to play fast, be confident, and just trust your eyes.
As far as your play goes, your ability to flex inside or outside, to play inside in the slot, but then also be out at that X receiver position, is that something you did in college, high school? How would you evaluate in terms of people who think, oh, he's just a slot versus what you've been able to showcase so far?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of like only being a slot. It's just kind of like just been labeled on me as came up. But just thanks to Chad and trusting me in OTAs, it was just one day I was like, Coach, I would really like to run that route. I feel like I'd be good at that cut. He was like, I think you would be too. And just hearing that, and then that following day, he was like, today I want you to be X and Z. And just, like I said, being ready for the opportunity throughout OTAs in this off season, just executing on those reps that I got outside, and feel like it's starting to build that and take that label off of me. And that's really was a goal for me, just to show that I can do more than just be a slot. And they say that's where being healthy and being confident comes into play, to be able to execute. So that's exciting, and I just want to continue to build on that.
Hey, you asked for the opportunity, now you get the opportunity. I know, as we wrap up here with you, Parker, I know you've had the opportunity to see a little bit more reps probably from Mac than many other wide receivers, just by virtue of the pecking order before Christian went down. Depending on who obviously goes on Sunday, what's your relationship like with Mac, with CJ, with these other quarterbacks who may have to step in?
Oh, you know, I got plenty of reps with all those guys, like you just said. And, I feel like they have confidence in me and I have confidence in them. That's what it's all about, just having that good relationship of trust and to be able to go out there no matter if we don't know if they're playing or not, to know that if they are playing, we're ready to go and we're excited and confident in what we're about to do. And like I said, just with Mac coming to this team this offseason, it's been cool to see him because, Mac Jones. So that's a cool moment to have him on the team, and he's a great guy, easy to get along with, and it's been fun. Like I said, being able to make plays with him in preseason, that was cool too. So I'm excited.
What's the goofiest Mac Jones story that you have?
There's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot, but I'll just say, just from what we seen at practice, throwing the ball into the stands and hitting the gritty, then just doing a whole bunch of dances in a time where we're really not supposed to, but that brings juice to what we're doing, and he does a good job with that.
Awesome. Parker, thanks so much.
Appreciate you.
I had to ask about a Mac Jones story.
Absolutely.
Everybody has one, and I think we needed to keep a tally in the locker room this week, Carlyon, as far as every time a player referenced Mac, but they say his first and his last name. I don't think anyone just calls him Mac. They just call him Jones. They just have it is Mac Jones. One word.
Great interview. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Another iconic name is going to join us on the other side. Tatum Everett, the team reporter for the Minnesota Vikings, comes up next right here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade.
Come spend a night with Daryl Hall. November 14th, St. Augustine Amphitheater. A rare, up-close evening with a singer-songwriter. A musical journey through his entire career. Featuring a special guest, Howard Jones. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Don't miss Daryl Hall with special guest Howard Jones together.
Mia here. When it comes to roofing, whether it be shingles, metal, or most repairs, there is one name that has protected your home since 1999. Pro-Jax Roofing. Serving all of Northeast Florida, Mike and his guys have been repairing and replacing roofs for 25 years. Need insurance help? Mike's team can help. Raised in a military family, Mike provides great attention to detail with unparalleled quality and workmanship. They also have warranties, so you can have peace of mind. Call Mike today for a free estimate or online at ProJaxRoofingFL.com.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
It's the blog players put their pads on for.
So we got to bring it.
My thoughts and observations on our home team. That's what I share with you every week on my blog.
Roland Reich Plumbing brings you Hayes Blog on 1010XL.com. This is the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM and FM. Jacksonville Beach. 1010XL. Home sweet home of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of the United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank N.A. member FDIC.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now let's go behind enemy lines. Behind enemy lines. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hour number 2 of the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade, is officially underway. Mia O'Brien, Hayes Carline, and joining us now on the Garber Auto Mall hotline, live from Duval County, boots on the ground, Tatum Everett, one of the reporters and content managers for the Minnesota Vikings in-house digital team. Tatum, my friend, how are you?
So good. So good to hear your voice. Happy to be in Florida. It was awesome just stepping off the plane, feeling the humidity again. I'm a Southern girl at heart, and so I just felt like home.
Yeah, I was going to say, feel like you're in Louisiana, which certainly we will tap into your LSU roots when it comes to the breakdown of the wide receivers, the marquee wide receivers on both sides of the ball of this game. But let's begin big picture, Tatum. 6-2. Minnesota Vikings. If I had told you that back in, let's say, April, you would say blank.
I would say it's always possible with Kevin O'Connell as your head coach. I think he's done such a great job since he's been here. I mean, nobody saw it 2 years ago that this team would go 13-3 in his first year. And I think last year they were on track to be a very competitive team until they suffered all of those injuries at the quarterback position. So I'm not surprised. I think rightfully so. People are, they were uncertain about this quarterback now because of Sam Darnold and what was going to happen, what it was going to look like. So rightfully so. Maybe the success was thought of as fleeting, I guess. I don't know, but no, I have a lot of confidence in this coaching staff and kind of I have a feeling they would be better than what people thought.
Hey, Tatum, it's Hayes Carline. Thanks so much for joining us. The Vikings are second in the NFL, having forced 17 takeaways. What's been the key to that success?
Well, I think it's just the personnel and the ability and the versatility of these guys to just do multiple roles. I mean, they're able to move guys all around the defense, and they do it willingly and unselfishly. It's a room with no ego, and when they get in there and they are just ball hawks. I think that's the biggest part of Kevin O'Connell's success record as well. Like I think last week when they lost the turnover margin and won the game was the first time that had happened since he's been here. As long as Kevin O'Connell has been here, if it's an even or a plus in the turnover battle, they tend to win the game. It just kind of happens. So I think they're just an aggressive group under Brian Flores, and he continues to be able to show different looks to different quarterbacks and frustrate them. And I think it's just a matter of finding the right guy for this defense because they went out in free agency and picked up a Jonathan Grenard on the edge. Andrew Van Ginkel has been amazing. He was a guy from the Dolphins they picked up. Blake Cashman, who's I know questionable for today, before he went on the injury report for with a turf toe, he was also just he was the guy in the green dot, the military sergeant in the middle telling everyone what they need to do. And I think a lot of those new additions is exactly what Brian Flores saw for his defense. And now that he can get his hands on it for another season, I think you're seeing that and come to life.
You can find her on X at Tatum Everett. She is a on-air talent and content manager for the official in-house media home of the Minnesota Vikings. Tatum, this is me tapping into a topic that I know so many in Duval would rather us be talking about, with the Jaguars currently sitting at 2-7. My boyfriend actually asked me this morning, he was like, are you guys going to talk coaching search, coaching candidates? Look, Doug Pederson is still the head coach of the Jaguars. Trent Baalke is still the general manager. But what I have tried to do every time we've had folks like yourselves from opposing media markets on the Superstation 1010XL, I've wanted to kind of tap in and get your perspective. Why is it that it has worked with Kevin O'Connell? Why is it that despite the shortcomings in Miami, it has worked with Brian Flores in Minnesota, and kind of the personality and how they operate up in Minnesota that's allowed for that success?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I think they use that word collaboration a lot, and sometimes it just kind of feels like a cliche or just something they say, but it's like truly what they believe in. It's Kevin O'Connell last week talked about how he's calling Stephon Gilmore during the week FaceTiming when they're coming up with their red zone plays and asking him, okay, so when we faced the Colts in 2022 and you were on the team, what did you see here? What can I pick your brain? What can I do differently to make this more effective? And he's talking to the safety, Bobby McCain, who's on the practice squad, and looking at looks and saying, Bobby, like, what do you see here? What do you see happening when you look at the way they're wearing formation? So he can go and change that and kind of tweak things. It's when he has to rely on guys like that who he called the unsung heroes of how this offense has been able to be so successful. Going to guys where it doesn't matter. And I truly think that Kevin is a guy who has learned so much and was an absolute sponge when he was a quarterback in the league, that he took everything he learned as a player and knowingly, he was, a backup quarterback for so long. He saw the inner workings of everything. And I think that's what really developed his coaching style. And he is a player's coach. And I think that just comes from his own experiences.
Tatum, it's only been one game, but what's been the initial impression of Cam Robinson?
Yeah, I'm really excited about Cam. The Vikings, I don't know if they were going to be buyers of left tackle if Christian Darrisaw never goes out with that injury, because Christian Darrisaw is one of the best left tackles, if not the best left tackle in the league, and just getting better each and every season. But Cam is a nice guy. I have to say I've had a conversation with him in the locker room this week, and, we have a Louisiana connection. I remember, this is the most random story ever, but I remember when he was recruited out of Alabama, what a big deal, or to Alabama out of Louisiana, what a big deal it was for him to go to another state for college and not go to the in-state school. So, we kind of talked about that for a little while. His team definitely got the better of mine last night. But I think Cam has really gelled well. He played 100% of the snaps in one game after being on the team for 5 days. I just think that's remarkable. And everybody around the team was talking just about how much they were impressed with him. I talked to tight end Josh Oliver, who Jacksonville drafted, a few years back, and he was saying, I knew Cam and didn't really play a lot with Cam, but, he was always a well-respected guy, and to see him come in here and just mesh with the offensive line the way he did was something they were just really excited about. And you saw it. I'm not sure, actually Jacksonville fans may not have seen this, but Kevin O'Connell in his locker room speech after the game gave Cam the game ball first over everyone because they were so impressed. And Cam got emotional. He kind of got teary-eyed because I think, it's just been a whirlwind week. He loves Jacksonville. He told me that he's really excited to come back here already and play a game. He called Jacksonville his home for the last 8 years, and he's excited, to be back here. And I think the Vikings are just really excited to have a plug-and-play left tackle because, this line is really, really strong. They've had a really good season, and they didn't really want to lose that momentum, which we all know can happen when you lose one of your ends.
I'm honestly shocked I'm honestly shocked, Tatum. We got, an hour and 8 minutes into the program before we actually discussed Cam Robinson and the return to Duval County, which is crazy to think because I feel like it was a storyline that popped up in the locker room pretty frequently this week, but certainly that will be one we're watching as well. We won't bring up your alma mater and the score from last night. I will ask you this. Were you surprised to hear that Justin Jefferson and Brian Thomas Jr. have never talked before, according to BTJ? And what are your expectations from both of those two wide receivers here today?
Yeah, well, I expect they will definitely have a chat. LSU guys, and especially the wide receiver rooms, go deep. I think, LSU and back in the day when I was going to school there, it was more like a DBU, but I think we're a wide receiver U now. Candidly, I drafted Brian Thomas Jr. over a lot of guys on my fantasy team because I just knew what an amazing weapon he could be from LSU. But I think these guys kind of have a little bit in common as far as where they were in college, because if you think back to Justin Jefferson, he had his breakout games where, the one I think of the most is the Oklahoma playoff game where he caught 4 touchdowns in the first half. And that was against the Sooner squad who was led by Jalen Hurts, right? So it was such a big game and a big moment for him. But he was always kind of not in the shadows of Jamar Chase, but Jamar Chase was always thought of as the first wide receiver on that team, and rightfully so. But now you have JJ, and he's been able to just pop in the NFL and be incredible, one of the greatest ever to do it. And I just think that kind of felt like a similar journey to me for Brian Thomas Jr. because he had, Malik Neighbors, and Malik was, picked before him and all that kind of stuff. So I had a feeling it would be a good mesh because he is one of the fastest, speediest guys in this draft class. And I just knew the big play option was going to be there. And I'm really excited to see him have so much success. My leading purple and gold heart is just really happy to see him do well.
In terms of TJ Hawkinson, he makes his season debut last week, and now moving on, I think he's somebody that could really punish this Jaguars defense today. If he's the old Hawkinson from last year when he caught 95 passes, what were sort of the early returns of TJ Hawkinson getting back out there?
Yeah, I just think it's good to get him out there. He's such a great team guy. And, it wasn't his night to have a big night on Sunday. Josh Oliver did. He had a career high in receptions, and, Josh Oliver is more known as a blocking tight end. But seeing TJ on the sideline just be so excited for, his dude to have such a big game is great to see. I think TJ's biggest attributes were getting attention so that other guys can have a bigger game. You saw Jordan Addison have a bigger game than he has had in recent weeks. And so I think a lot of it is just knowing that he's out there. It's just another weapon for these defenses to focus on. And then you think about, okay, so Josh Oliver had a big catch. Jalen Naylor had a touchdown. They had 9 different pass catchers in this game. I think it's just another person to make it more difficult for these defense. And not just another person, one of the best tight ends in the league.
Tatum, what is the vibe up there in Minnesota when it comes to looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars going into this game? I know in speaking with Paul Allen, a couple of the folks on the Minnesota Vikings broadcast this week, the words trap game have come up. I know for us, each of the last 2 weeks here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, we heard that from the folks in Philly. We heard that from the folks in Green Bay. What's the perception of Jacksonville right now?
Yeah, I think that, I think this team knows that this is it's the NFL. Every team on any given day. That's why we love this league. There's so much parity, and anyone can win on any given day. And I think that they need to remember that. You can't get ahead of yourselves and start thinking, okay, so it's another AFC South team. Their record isn't what ours is. You can't think like that. So, trap game I think is always kind of a strong term for it. I think working alongside the coaching staff and the players from this in-house media perspective has changed my mind a little bit on no game is easy. And I think that this team knows that. And they had those 2 losses back to back, and that really was a tough time for them. It was 2 losses over 5 days, and you could kind of feel the disappointment around the facility when that happened. So I just don't think they want that to happen again. They have championship hopes, and so I do believe they're going to take this game very seriously. And I think for fans, they get nervous because they're Vikings fans, and that's what I love about them. They're they don't want to buy in just yet. They're like, oh no, what's going to happen this time? But I think this team will be fine today. I think they'll come in here and I think they'll handle business. And I think that's really important for them too, because, they are in a really, really tough division with the Lions being, Super Bowl favorites at this point. You can't lose any footing. You can't get so far behind the 8 ball when it comes to this playoff race because, there's a chance that you could be a wild card with an amazing record or vice versa with the Lions. So I think that that's something they have to keep in mind.
All right, Tatum, before we let you go, I get the vibe that you are leaning towards the Minnesota Vikings. Do you have a score prediction for today's contest?
Mia, I knew you were going to ask me this, and I have to say that I cannot make predictions. It's part of my job, unfortunately. I'm not really – I know. It's kind of – there's some rules about being in-house.
We love old school journalism. I love that.
Yeah. Well, that's what we're trying to do over here. But I do think the Vikings will win this one. I think that they come out in the first quarter, and I think that they get back to their dominance. They scored 68 points in the first quarter this season. So I think that they come out here, make a statement, and and get a decisive win is what I'll give you.
Perfect, because in contrast, that's a great little what we call saucy nugs here on the Superstation, because the Jaguars are last in scoring in the first quarter, and I believe they're in the bottom 5 now in scoring in fourth quarter games this season. Tatum Everett, thank you so much for joining us, my friend. We will see you at the stadium.
Yep, see y'all very soon. Can't wait. Thank you.
Yep, and then again, you can find her on X at Tatum Everett. Sure thing. I'm going to say all of my Minnesota phrases, Midwestern phrases. Channel some of that. I see the Jaguars social channel already has the You Betcha going right now on their social channel. So we appreciate Tatum, who, of course,
yeah, that was great. Thanks for setting that up.
Absolutely, who is also an LSU graduate, so very familiar with Jay Jettas, Brian Thomas Jr., and so a great resource for us to tap into as we went behind enemy lines. Our keys to the game come up next right here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. Stick around. Still a whole lot to do right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Let's take a look inside 1010XL.
Who wants the Grand Tour? That would be terrific. That would be great.
We have the drill in the morning.
Very amusing.
Jaguars today from 10 to noon.
Good.
Helmets and heels until 2.
Yes.
XL Prime Time and the Frangie Show afternoons.
This is great.
Then Baloo and Hacker take you into the night.
All in one location.
1010XL.
Hey everybody, it's Mike Dempsey. Here in North Florida, you know that when temperatures go up and your AC goes out, you need help now. Like right now. Like lickety-split. So why not call Lickety Split and get same-day emergency service for your AC? Now, I bet you've seen their trucks all over town because they've got dozens of certified technicians ready to repair not only your AC, but your home's plumbing and electrical too. So when you want it done right and you need it done right now, call Lickety Split AC Plumbing and Electric.
When pests invade your space, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, we show up for you and eliminate pests quicker because we care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so do we. Don't live with a pest problem. Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. TERMINIX.com. Terminix it.
Break in the savings this fall with Universal Roof and Contracting. Enjoy 15% off all roof repairs and replacements, plus a free wind mitigation inspection. With financing options as low as $115 a month, protecting your home has never been easier. Schedule your free roof inspection today. Call 855-ROOF-HELP. Offer expires November 30th. Protect your home and your wallet.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Everything about the game has changed, except for the most important thing. What you have inside. It is what drives the game. It refuses to be ignored. It sweats every day, turns an athlete into a legend. Gatorade, is it in you?
From Gatorade Zero to Gatorade Endurance Formula and Gator Light, there's something for every athlete. Find it at your local Winn-Dixie. It's a win-win. Gatorade, official partner of the NFL.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg of Underwood Jewelers. Clayton, you have told us about buying better quality diamonds, but is there any way to start with a smaller diamond and use it to trade up to a larger diamond later on?
Frank, it's interesting you'd ask that because our founder, H.F. Underwood, popularized growing your diamond here in Jacksonville about 50 years ago, and it's something we still do today. When a customer buys an Underwood engagement ring or solitaire diamond pendant or a pair of ear studs, we guarantee they get the price they paid for it on the purchase of any larger diamond. Now, a lot of stores would say, big deal. We do that too, but here's the Underwood difference. We guarantee you get what you paid when you trade in your Underwood diamond, even if you're trading up by only $1. It's not that you have to trade up 2 for 1 like most jewelers ask. There have been literally thousands of people in the Jacksonville area who have taken advantage of our policy, and Underwood still grows a lot of diamonds for a lot of people.
Underwood, serving excellence since 1928. In San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Help the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl create holiday experiences for local families. The Send a Child to the Game program provides families a free game day experience, including transportation, t-shirts, pregame meal, and game tickets. Let's partner with ViStar Credit Union to send 1,500 kids and families to the game. To help reach this goal where youth can witness history at the 80th Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, make a tax-deductible donation to Gator Bowl charities at TaxSlayerGatorBowl.com.
Hey everybody, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. Dandy subs and sandwiches. Look, we always want you to think about those great options as you're driving around Duval. But the beauty is, even as I'm dropping pounds, Dandy's got great options for me as well. Told you all about their protein packs, delicious salads that they have out there. They have fruit cups for on the go. You know what they have. Veggie snack trays. You can grab those on the go as well. Perfect, healthy snack. Dandy is the name to know when you're on the go. So stop into a Gate store anywhere around Duval and make yours a dandy. And do it today.
Yo, it's your boy E to the T here, and come watch the Florida LSU game with me at Barley and Pie Brewing Company in Fleming Island. Kickoff is at 3:30. Late night happy hour is from 8 to close. See you Saturday at Barley and Pie in Fleming Island.
If you're looking for custom metalwork, look no further than Superior Fence and Rail. Whether it's custom railing, shade structures, or custom entry gates, their expert team controls the turnkey process. From CAD design and raw metal to powder-coated finish and expert installation. When you choose Superior Fence and Rail for your custom metal project, you get a project that's, well, superior. So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail today.
Hey, sports fans, it's Hayes Carlyon from MyBookie. The text line was lighting up again this week with our listeners telling us they're cashing in betting with MyBookie. With the best sign-up deposit bonus in the industry available to Florida bettors, you need to get in on the action with promo code 1010XL. We have monster games to tackle this weekend. Mac Jones likely starting for the first time in the teal and black. He's going to be around a 7-point underdog to the Vikings. Similar situation when the Eagles travel to face the Cooper Rush-led Cowboys, where the Cowboys are also 7-point dogs at home. The Lions may be the NFL's best team, taking on C.J. Stroud and the Texans on Sunday Night Football. Stroud is kind of struggling without his receivers. I would go Lions there. Again, MyBookie still has that double deposit bonus that doubles your money on your very first deposit up to $1,000. It's the best deposit sign-up bonus in the industry. So sign up now, promo code 1010XL, and make yourself a winner with MyBookie. Don't forget that promo code 1010XL.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now the keys to the game. Brought to you by Instant Keys. Fast, professional, honest locksmith service.
What makes... Say that, start again.
Sam Darnold's seeming to click finally this season.
Oh, yeah.
First time in his career, first round pick. Why? Why is this the time for him?
Justin Jefferson? Because you were thinking it. I think the talent around him, that helps, right? Just having the run game, the defense, the way the defense is played.
Yeah, we know who it is. We know what it is, Doug Pederson. It is A-OK. And when we begin our keys to the game before the Jaguars-Vikings clash coming up at 1 o'clock here at Everbank Stadium, I think we have to begin and end with Jay Jettas himself, Hayes Carlyon. You led off with it when we were doing our X Factors. There is no question. If the Jaguars are to win this game, as Frank Frangie said, you have to limit Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, and we saw what Jamar Chase did in a losing effort Thursday night. So, this is a guy that's capable of that kind of game. 3 touchdowns, over 200 yards. Obviously Tyson Campbell, you feel good about him. But we also know there's going to be a lot of plays where Jefferson probably isn't being guarded by Tyson. And so it's going to take probably the best effort the Jaguars have had this year, I think, to contain Darnold and his weapons. And I do think Darnold deserves credit for what he's done. I don't think it's just Justin Jefferson. He's completing 69.5% of his passes.
Nice.
He has been a little over the top with the interceptions, but to have 17 touchdown passes, 5 have gone to Jefferson. So he's found 12 other, receiving touchdowns outside of Jefferson, and
Tatum alluded to that too.
Yeah, and that's
9 different targets last week.
That's kind of my concern today. I don't. Jefferson will have a good day. I don't think he's going to have 190 yards and 2 scores kind of game. But I do worry about Addison, Hawkinson, Naylor. Minnesota's got Oliver, some other guys that I think can really hurt. The Jaguars, to me, seem to be okay, if we focus on stopping this one thing, we can do a decent job stopping this one thing. But then everything else is available for the opponent. And that's my fear of this matchup for the Jaguar defense.
Well, you referenced Jamar Chase's performance on Thursday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens, somehow, some way, despite having the second best, or actually they are the best run defense in the National Football League because Minnesota is number 2, they have the worst passing defense, and that is even compared to the 31st ranked Jaguars passing defense. So I'm not ruling out a 100-plus yard game for Justin Jefferson. I do think he's the focal point. So to your point, if they can just zero in on him, then, yeah, a key to the game is probably Aaron Jones in the run game, which we already saw what Josh Jacobs was able to do against the Jaguars here 2 weeks ago, and, of course, Saquon Barkley last week.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I do think a big factor in this game is the Jaguars being able to build a strong ground game of their own to support Mac Jones. And we'll see what ETN can do. But, Bigsby is certainly had a nice season. How do you think the Jaguars' rushing attack will fare against Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm very curious. Again, the Vikings are the second-best run defense in the National Football League. If Blake Cashman plays, that obviously fortifies that second level for them. I'm curious to see, with Blake Hance most likely getting the start at left guard, if there is some sort of chemistry, continuity along that offensive front. Look, he's been here in Jacksonville now for 2+ years. I know on the practice squad to begin this season before being signed to the 53-man roster. Was on the 53 all last year. He did play against the Cleveland Browns. So I do think that it's not like it's somebody plug and play right off the street, But at the same time, if there is not that continuity and chemistry and the idea of the Jaguars loving to run off the left side because they trust Ezra Cleveland, because they trust Walker Little in the run game, that's where I'm curious if Press Taylor can adapt the game plan. Because like we saw last week, or even 2 weeks ago, let's go to 2 weeks ago, the Jaguars are down their top 3 wide receivers, and you have to call 12 personnel, and Press Taylor is calling 11 personnel, as players told us and as he admitted as well, and all of a sudden he's like, I got to change the game plan, and it took a second. You're going to have to be able to adapt on the fly with the moving pieces that the Jaguars have because of their injuries.
What do you think special teams? Could special teams be something that favors the Jaguars today?
Yeah, I think you brought up a great point. The idea of Will Reichard, the kicker, the rookie kicker for the Minnesota Vikings, being out of this game, placed on injured reserve after that hamstring injury, quad injury that he suffered. I do think that is certainly a matchup that does favor the Jaguars, Hayes, because, number one, I think we have the better rookie kicker. But number two, we've seen kicking woes around the league this season certainly come back to bite teams, and so there's certainly the potential for that. I'm curious with Devin Duvernay coming back. The last time we saw him in a Jaguars uniform on a game field, he did have that very nice long return against the Colts. 2 weeks later, Parker Washington, the punt return for a score. And so I'm very curious to see how that shakes out. Are you going to start Devin Duvernay? Or are you just going to play him as a returner because your wide receiver core is depleted as well?
Yeah, and again, Minnesota having a new kicker, don't discount that, if you're listening. I mean, that's something that if the Jaguars can keep the game close, then, again, John Parker Romo is who the Vikings have signed.
I don't even know where he went to school.
I don't either. I mean, I thought it was a made-up person, to be honest. I thought, did a
Sarah Jessica Parker and Tony Romo had a child.
Right, exactly.
Apparently he was on the All-XFL team, played at Central Arkansas, Tulsa, and Va Tech.
It's quite a journey.
Bopped around between the Saints, the San Antonio Brahmas, the Lions, the Bears, and the Vikings practice squads.
But again, that's the kind of thing that in a game like this, if you're the Jaguars, you're the underdog, obviously, you're going to need a couple of things to go well for you. You're going to need the Vikings to have some mistakes. And, if this Romo kicker, if he misses one early, then maybe that gives you a little bit of a spark and a lift in the building. So it's just something to consider because we know the Jaguars, obviously, with Logan Cook, they're going to have, outstanding effort there. Duvernay is a fantastic returner, and Cam Little certainly looks like he's going to be here for a long time. So, again, it's unlikely it's going to come down to it, but just something to sort of think about. That the Vikings could have some struggles in the kicking game today.
As we continue our keys to the game brought to you by Instant Keys, I do want to hit on the Vikings defense. Evan Ingram with some very transparent, very open comments in the locker room regarding the last time he faced a Brian Flores defense. Here, Minnesota.
Yeah, Miami 21, I think. We're still in New York. Yeah, it was definitely it was a headache. It was a headache of a game. It's a headache to prepare for. It's a headache to deal with. They just throw a lot at you and make you think and make you, overprotect sometimes. And then, it's just a very complex defense. And we're on our P's and Q's all week trying to, put a great plan together to go out and beat it. So I'm definitely looking forward to the challenge, though, for sure.
Is there any other defense you can compare it to?
No, not really. No, I definitely when he was in Miami that year, it was like every play, almost every play, all zero and stuff. So I think he's got to kind of have a newer formula around that. Letting his guys kind of still be athletes in space and go make plays on the ball. But it's still a challenge. I definitely haven't seen anything like it for sure.
So what's interesting, and we dove into this on this past week's Duval Rundown on Thursday. If you want to go back and listen to that on the 1010XL Jaguars YouTube channel, myself and Gus Logue. Brian Flores has been very transparent, Hayes, that I don't know if you know the answer to this or if you listened to this week's episode yet. Of all the college coaches that in his year away from the game, we obviously know how it ended in Miami, and it wasn't pretty with Brian Flores and the Dolphins front office. When he took that year away from the game or was a consultant, the one college coach that he zoned in on his defense and said, that's what I want to evolve to, Pat Narduzzi of Pitt. I'm not sure anyone would have picked Pat Narduzzi and Pitt. Then again, they started the year 7-0 this year, so perhaps Brian Flores is ahead of all of us, and he's certainly been ahead of most offensive coordinators so far through 8 games this year for the Vikings. But that was the defense that he said we need to emulate. And from what we heard from Tatum Everett earlier in the program, what we've heard from Vikings reporters throughout the week here on 1010XL, the common refrain has been there's no ego, yes, on that defensive side of the ball, but they are X's. They are not, you are an outside linebacker, you are an off-ball linebacker, you are a safety. He moves those guys around in a positionless defense. That is something that, as Evan Ingram said, they haven't seen before.
And Joe Flacco had no answer for it the other night, Sunday Night Football, and the Colts lost to the Vikings. It's rare to see, Flacco could play poorly because he's an older player now. He's probably getting close to 40. But he doesn't often not know where to go with the ball. And it was clear. You could tell in his body language he was flustered and confused the entire game. So it really speaks to what Minnesota is doing on that side of the ball. And the numbers reflect it. They're first in the league in interception rate. They're 11th in sacks percentage. So, they are really generating consistent, huge plays. And they force 17 turnovers, which is second best in the league. So really going to be imperative for Mac Jones to, we're not expecting a lot of highlight plays from Mac Jones because it's just not the kind of player he is, but you really need to avoid the 3 turnover game that I think if Trevor Lawrence was starting would have been very much in play, and it still could be with Mac Jones, but I think maybe you've got a little bit of a better chance of at least keeping that turnover battle even. And if the Jaguars can do that, they'll have a chance. But, the Minnesota Vikings just deserve so much credit for what they've been able to do. They're +4 on the year in turnover margin. That's tied for 8th. But it's because they force 17. They're not great protecting the ball themselves.
I was going to say, Sam Darnold is prone to a turnover or two, too.
But they get so many. And, again, just to put that number in perspective, the Vikings have 17 takeaways. The Jaguars have 5. So, it's just night and day. And if that continues today, not only will the Jaguars lose, they'll get blown out.
I know we're up against it time-wise. I do want us to listen to one more soundbite from this week in the locker room from Evan Ingram. We brought it up earlier in the program. My final key to the game brought to you by Instant Keys. We need to see more 12 personnel. As I asked Evan, it's the healthiest position room on the offensive side of the ball. Lean into that tight end room. Lead into more 2 tight end sets.
Yeah, I think when Britton has gotten his opportunity to make an impact, he's done it tenfold. And I think with a young player like that, getting reps, getting confidence, he's only going to keep getting better. So I'm definitely on that train of some more 12 personnel. We have guys all across the offense that can contribute, but if there's any way to get him on the field, he's dominant in the run game. He's gaining confidence in the pass game, and he's kind of finding his own style of play too. So I definitely think he's earned it, deserves it. And I think with more opportunity, he's going to continue to show what he's capable of.
If you were hearing fire trucks in the background, hopefully you were not, but if you are, everything's okay here at the Terminix Kickoff Show. Just wanted to make sure we gave that disclaimer. But yes, as Evan said, Brenton Strange has proven he had a career game, Hayes Carlyon, against the Green Bay Packers, and then he only plays 9 offensive snaps against the Philadelphia Eagles. Please make it make sense.
You can't, and that's the troubling thing that's been a trend is it's overthinking it. That's what I think is a big part of their problem. It's, well, this is what they'll be expecting us to do, so we don't want to do that. No, let's let Trammell have 36 snaps out of the slot. It's like you've got to play. The Jaguars, I think, too often allow the opponent to make them play left-handed. And what I mean by that is the Jaguars have something that's working, but it's out there that it's working. So now the opponent is obviously going to take that away. So we're not going to run that. We're going to do something else that they're not expecting. And what leads to when that happens is, well, now you're trying to execute your offense with inferior personnel, which is just asinine. And so, again, a player like Brenton Strange, who was really, I thought, did a nice job when Evan Ingram was out. Yes, he should have been a much bigger part of the offense. I thought he did an outstanding job late in that Packers game when they were down all the receivers. And so it's just a flawed philosophy. And, again, that's why it's frustrating that Doug Pederson has delegated as much offensive responsibility as he has to Press Taylor. And ultimately, it won't be the only reason, but it's going to be one of the reasons that there's a coaching change at some point between now and mid-January.
No practice squad elevations this week, not at least that I saw or received a press release regarding. So no Austin Trammell today, no Elijah Cooks as far as we know. Those are our keys to the game, brought to you by Instant Keys. One more segment to go here on the Terminix Kickoff Show, brought to you by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade. It is time for everybody's favorite part of the show. Our friends from Brackish Vodka join us on the other side right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Want to be up close and personal with the Jaguars as they take the field? Here's your chance to be in the shadows, outside the Jaguars locker room, now called the Vault. Enter today at everbank.com/shadows. One winner and a guest for every home game at Everbank Stadium. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 and older. Entry periods for the Shadow Sweepstakes promotion from 8/19/24 to 12/15/24. For official rules and complete details, visit everbank.com/shadows. Sponsored administrator, Everbank NA, member FDIC.
3D Digital has you covered for any of your business's digital marketing needs. From producing award-winning videos to getting those digital ads to follow your customers around the internet, our team has your back. Visit 3ddigital.com or give us a call at 904-712-4004 to schedule a free consultation today. 904-712-4004.
Hey everybody, Jennifer Marion with Randy Marion Cadillac in Jacksonville here to say hello, and we'd sure like to have your business.
You know what? They're going to love the king of price.
My dad believes in making great deals and having a great selection in stock.
Cadillac XT4s, XT5s, and XT6s, and Escalades.
The all-electric Cadillac Lyriq.
CT4s and CT5s.
Cadillac luxury and selection is just waiting for you.
At Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville.
And don't forget, tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Bold City AC, heating that rules.
Is your AC ready for the holidays? Bold City Heating and Air ensures your AC stays in tip-top shape. We know that a clean AC is a healthy AC. Upgrade yours for just $96 a month and enjoy free duct cleanings with your new system. Plus, ask about our 0% financing options.
Bold City AC, we got the crew. Bold City AC.
Visit boldcityac.com. She's very comfortable talking sports and hanging out with the boys.
Mia O'Brien here, still providing the best multimedia sports coverage in Northeast Florida on 1010XL radio, video, and social channels.
All things Mia are driven by Arlington Toyota.
Wow, John, my Clearwater sprinkler system looks great.
All right, Frank, let's go ahead and program your Rainbird timer. How many minutes do you want the zones to run?
John, I think we run from the front 20, the sides 15, the back 10, the garden 5. Clearwater scores!
Well, that's a first, Frank, but you're the boss.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage to
ClearwaterJacks.com.
If you're ready to transform your yard with a fence that stands out, elevate your curb appeal with Superior Fence and Rail. Superior takes pride in offering first-class service, friendly installers, and unmatched fence products. Mention this ad and get $250 off your next project. It's time to get off the fence and call today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting.
Hi, I'm Chuck Farah. We know how important it is for you to have a vehicle after you've been injured in a car accident. So when we represent you for your personal injury claim, we'll help you get a rental car from the insurance company while your car is being repaired. And we'll provide this service at no additional fee. If you're hurt and you've got no car, let my team go to work for you. Farah & Farah, protecting you and your family. Call us at 396-5555 or go to farahandfarah.com. Jacksonville.
Hey, Jacksonville Koozies, it's me, Soccer Sam, for Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizza is now open in Jacksonville, Florida, Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. Daily $10 deals, dine in with beer and wine, and delivery at salvatores.com. The famous Formoso family brings Salvatore's Pizza, Rochester's favorite pizza, including our 32-piece sheet pizza for your next event. Go with me, baby. Salvatores.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Starting your game day.
The Terminix Kickoff Show.
Presented by Clearwater Irrigation and Gatorade Fast Twitch on 1010XL.
The table is set. I see a bottle of brackish pineapple vodka.
Here we go.
If you're not watching on YouTube, X, Facebook, this is your cue. If you can safely do so, fire it up, because Chad Mays is here from Growler's Bar and Grill, and we have a brackish vodka creation never before seen on the Terminix Kickoff Show that we're about to make.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do one right today. It's going to be in honor of our boy Jimmy and his wife Brooke. They come in town every year for the Jaguar games, at least one time, so we're in here for him today.
But it's not just that Jimmy is a friend of the program.
Right.
It's that he's also a veteran.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's a veteran of the Coast Guard. He's still active. He's over there in Louisiana, made the trek all the way over here, so we're looking forward to it.
That's
awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
And, of course, we salute everybody on Veterans Day, all the veterans out there this week. But also, I do hear that his wife is a Vikings fan.
Yeah, that's the only character flaw with him. His wife is a huge Vikings fan. Brooke, she's a CrossFit champion, so she can be a Vikings fan if she wants to. It's all up to her.
All right. For those of you who may be unfamiliar, Chad, walk us through exactly what brackish is and how many flavors we're now up to.
Well, so brackish is a local vodka. It's it's made and done right here in Jacksonville. They've got a whole bunch of flavors now. They got coffee, elderflower, tangerine, pineapple, peach, mango, I think cinnamon, marshmallow. I think I said them all. Yeah, maybe one more chocolate or something like that. And then they have the OG, which we sell a lot of.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what are we making today with our friends from Brackish?
So this Jimmy is going to be a shot.
Okay.
We're going to make enough for the three of us. And then it's going to have a component, which I hope that will help the Jags. So we're going to put a little bit of watermelon extract in there.
This is better than anything Press Taylor can come up with.
Oh, yeah, really, right? It's time. Do something. So we're going to switch this around. I forgot my thing.
And we do have the Jaguar shot ski. It did not work for us against the Green Bay Packers. It did against the Indianapolis Colts. Perhaps the Jimmy is what we need.
Yep.
We also do have an apple box. So for those of you who were worried about the height differential last week, that I was struggling being a foot smaller than Hayes and Chad, we got the apple box. I hope it can hold me, Chad. We're about to find
it's
out.
going to hold you.
Okay.
Trust me.
All right.
Look at this.
We're up.
Yeah, we're up. Because last week
It's
you
up.
spilled the whole
What
thing.
What can't she do?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah. So we're going to put these, and then we're going to finish them off with a little bit of Red Bull. to wake up the Jags offense this weekend.
I love it.
Yes.
All right.
Love it. All right, here we
ready?
go.
You
The
ready?
Jimmy.
Here we go. The
in
Jimmy.
honor of
Honor of
Veterans
the Jimmy.
Day and the Jags.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Ready?
1. Here we go. Go, Jags.
Oh,
Minimal spillage.
boy, is that good.
There we go.
Well done.
Minimal spillage.
Billy Miss Spillage.
Well
you did
done.
it, Mia.
Thank you to the
Congratulations.
Apple Box for making it possible. I promise I've stood on one of those a time or two before in TV. Chad, what are we cooking with at Growler's Bar and Grill today?
Well, today we got everything. We got our sausages. Man, we got 2 kinds of sausages going today, plus some chicken salad sandwiches. And, man, we just got every kind of handheld that you can have and enjoy this weekend. We got it.
It's not just drinks, folks. You can get food, and, of course, it's the pavilion right here at Tailgaters Parking, so slide on by, and you'll be open throughout the game.
Throughout the whole game. And then if you're a veteran and you come up, veterans, first responders, any of those guys, come up and we'll do a 2-for-1 for you the whole game.
That's awesome, man.
I love
All
it.
right.
Chad,
Great to
you
see
are
you.
the man. Thank you
All
for
right.
all you do for us, for everybody here at Tailgaters Parking and Growler's Bar and Grill, and a thank you to all of our veterans out there in Duval and beyond. Without further ado, it's now time to take a look around the AFC South.
In any case, they pick it up to get 3rd and 8. It gives Flacco a chance to throw. Intercepted by Murphy. Byron Murphy is...
Before the Minnesota Vikings traveled here to play the Jacksonville Jaguars, they were winners last week over the Indianapolis Colts. The Indianapolis Colts today, another tall task as they will host the Buffalo Bills, the 7-2 Buffalo Bills, who certainly, Hayes, I think are one of the more underrated teams in the AFC this year, once again, somehow, some way.
Yeah, without a doubt. No Michael Pittman today for the Colts, so that's going to make things difficult. Flacco will target Josh Downs, I'm sure, a ton, but Buffalo will be aware of that. And Josh Allen's just playing at such a high level. This does, I agree, feel like a really tough putt for Indianapolis. I'd be surprised if the Colts defensively can slow Buffalo down enough to stay in this game. Because I think with Flacco, they're going to have to win some, not total low scoring, but it can't be shootouts. Buffalo obviously has that potential, so I would like the Bills today to take down the Colts.
The Colts are 4-5, so if they were to lose to Buffalo today, that would drop them to 4-6, and they are still somehow in some way in second place in the AFC South because your hometown Jaguars are 2-7, and the Tennessee Titans on the road at the Los Angeles Chargers are 2-6.
Yeah, I mean, the Jaguars are in the cellar of a bad division. It's just it's a debacle, and it's probably going to stay that way today. I think the Titans are going to lose to the Chargers. The Titans defensively have been pretty good, but the turnovers have just been it's just unraveled them. We'll see if Will Levis is back today, but I don't know that it matters because Mason Rudolph he shouldn't be starting in the NFL. The Chargers really good defensively, and Justin Herbert is starting to really play at a high level. I think Harbaugh is kind of relaxing the reins a little bit and putting more on Justin Herbert, and so they're developing a comfort zone. I would expect the Chargers to pull away from the Titans in the third quarter of this game.
Yeah, they've gone over 250 yards through the air each of the last 3 weeks, have Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers. So finally finding a way to gel that emphasis on the run and the weapon that is their offensive line and the quarterback. Finally, the AFC South slate wraps up tonight with Sunday Night Football. The Texans, who I would not really put in the category of clicking on all cylinders right now, face the red hottest team, the talk of the town, the 7-1 Detroit Lions in Houston, though.
Yeah, how do you think that one goes?
Yeah, I am not very confident if I'm the Houston Texans, outside of if Nico Collins, who was activated off the reserve injured list on Friday, if he somehow goes for this game. He is questionable, Hayes. As he goes, this Houston Texans offense goes because they have been lost without him. Not that Nico Collins is the one who's supposed to be protecting C.J. Stroud, but the opportunity of throwing the ball downfield for him is certainly a way to minimize and mask an offensive line that has deficiencies.
That's the thing, is it's just, can Houston block Detroit at all? Now, obviously, the Lions have been without Aiden Hutchinson now for a few weeks, and that certainly affects them. But, boy, Houston's offensive line almost looks expansion level right now with how bad it is. And I have to think Detroit's going to be able to take advantage of that. And Stroud will have his moments, and if Collins plays, I'm sure he'll have moments too. But, the other thing is, how much can Houston slow down Jared Goff and this very versatile Lions offense led by future Jaguars coach Ben Johnson? So I would like Detroit tonight, and I would like them comfortably.
2 minutes to go in the show. A little 2-minute drill as we put a bow on this puppy and get some score predictions. But first, a score updates. Dylan Denmark, what's cooking over in Germany?
Panthers went down, scored a 90-yard drive. What was my boy's name? Tavion Sanders with the catch. We all have him in our fantasy lineup, so big points for him. Panthers lead 7-0.
And what is your score prediction for the hometown team and the Minnesota Vikings today?
30-13.
30-13. All right,
like
Dylan
that.
Denmark predicting another lopsided affair for your Jacksonville Jaguars. John O'Leary, engineer extraordinaire on site. What say you?
The Jaguars have struggled against every elite wide receiver they've seen. Today will be no different. 28-10 Vikings.
All right, and he doesn't have much faith in Mac Jones and that offense. Hayes Carlyon, you led off the program saying you do have some faith in the cerebral ability of Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think he'll have a chance to have some success in figuring out what Brian Flores is going to throw at him, but I think the Vikings just too much. I've got it Minnesota 34, Jaguars 21.
My bookie is holding steady at a 7-point line for this one, so I will say more scoregami. More scoregami. Give me the Vikings 26, the Jaguars 19. Let's get a little weird with it, and if you push on a bet, my bookie pays you back. Our thanks to Frank Frangie, our thanks to Tatum Everett, our thanks to Chad Mays and the folks at Growlers Bar and Grill for hosting us each and every Sunday on the Terminix Kickoff Show. For Hayes Carlyon, for John O'Leary, for Dylan Denmark, I am Mia O'Brien saying so long. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have the Publix Tailgate Show coming up next right here on the Superstation. We will catch you next week.